Hi, Contagious Living family. It's Kari, and if I have a little less enthusiasm today, it's just because it's parked somewhere deeper, centered inside of my heart. So, Jesse and I had a bit of an aha moment today as we are shut in. For the record and for history, this is during COVID-19 coronavirus time. So, there's lots of deep centered, uncentered polarity going on. Everybody's a little bit pulled in different directions. And for me, I'm finding that this is a centering space for me, I guess. So I had a bit of an aha moment today. So there's a woman named Ann Koshi who is in my Asira network marketing group, and I don't know her. I've never met her. And we started talking today, and she did this beautiful thing for me. I spent 4 hours with Jesse working on some Canva work with my Speaker One sheet, which is essentially a resume of my body of work and allows me to get more work for event planners to see who I am and what I'm doing. And I found it not just kind, but really, truly beautiful that in times like this, when everybody's kind of gathering and everybody's, hoarding and making sure they have enough toilet paper, enough food, enough whatever, people are kind of self-centered right now. There's some amazing humans that are showing up for others. And that really seems to be really prevalent in my world, which is the entrepreneurial space, self-development space. And I might be having a moment. I'm kind of proud of this space of humans where we were kind of unrecognized before as like, who are these people that stay at home and work all day and sell their, advice and their life journeys and their life coaching. But this time and space has led me to see how remarkable we are as a family of entrepreneurs that have learned to work on our own, to provide on our own, and to use our own minds and our own journeys. And so I had this woman, Annie, step out and look at my Speaker One sheet that Jesse and I worked on so long for 4 hours, and it was good. But she said, gosh, this is my niche. This is my brand. This is my workspace and my passion, something I love to do. Kari, would you mind if I redid this for you? My first thought was, hell no, we spent 4 hours on this. But my heart was absolutely, yes, I know she could do better. And so she did just that. And so we started a conversation today when I called her to say thank you so much for changing my entire everything and making it so much better and bolder. And just when somebody else showcases you, it's always going to be more beautiful than you showcase yourself, right? That's something that we live by. So I want to share that today. My aha moment, my contagious aha moment is a little bit heavier, it's a little bit upsetting. And that's why Jesse wanted to record this, because I was feeling this way so intensely today. It dawned on me as I was reading Annie's story about being married for 26 years and then choosing, for whatever reasons, it's not yours or my business, but choosing to leave that marriage and losing connectivity with her family and with her children, because divorce is not something that's okay in her culture. I realized today that another gal, who I'm not going to say her name to protect her, but it's a person who does my hair. She'll know who she is. A woman that Jesse and I both spent, time and space in her home. She's a beautiful human. She's an artist. She's an amazing human, and we're going to bring her on here, and someday I'll mention to you that that's who she was. But for right now, we'll give her some anonymity. But it dawned on me while I was talking to Jesse. I said, this is girl A's story. Annie's story is 100% the same as her story, which means there's so many women out there that are cross-cultural, that migrated here. And that means they came here with nothing. and they got into relationships with people who they thought had value in them, and then later realized that it wasn't enough value. It wasn't for the right intentions. And so I'm starting to realize that there's a lot of women out there that are misplaced because they came here in hopes of a better future and a better life, and um, building their dreams too, which is what we're all about, right? We all want to build our dreams. And I want to contagiously get you to be excited to build your dreams. But it's dawned on me there's some deaf ears out there for some women that have come here with really truly good intentions, and let's say Mulan was a Disney princess, and the Disney story has fallen short on them, and I don't want to fall short on them. I want to open up a conversation for women. There's a lot of women out there, you guys, that especially that I'm finding in the Asian culture, that are here, and we think and we see the Asian culture as this abundant group of people in a society, but what I'm finding is there's a group of women out here that have lost their children because they left marriages that were not healthy, and they chose themselves, just like you and I have the freedom to choose ourselves, to fill our cup first so we can take care of others. And they're displaced because they chose themselves, and we don't realize, and we don't take time to ask, but they're out there. And these are women that are suffering because they don't have their children, they don't have their families, they don't have their cultural support. They are completely on their own. And I know two women right now that I can think of, and that's too many humans that have really paid heavy, heavy, heavy prices emotionally, mentally, because they chose themselves. And so don't take for granted, if you're living in a space, in a culture, in a time, that you get to choose you. And I'm a woman that left a marriage after 20 years, but I didn't have to suffer the loss of my 4 beautiful children and my friendships. Yes, some people left in my divorce, but those weren't my friends. So I feel that was my darkest hour. And even in my darkest hour, I realized that it's much darker for some other sister friends out there. So I want to dedicate this contagious living moment to you, and to you finding and reaching out to other people out there that are in their darkest hour, and that are these women. And I want to dedicate this to Annie right now, that she was brave today and shared in a messenger talk that this is her. And we're going to call her Elle, my hairdresser out there, that we're thinking of them, and holding them close to our hearts. And men out there, don't let go of these women that you feel like there's something more behind the lens, behind their eyes, because they're struggling and they're suffering and they're looking for good supports and good people, but they're afraid. They're afraid of you, and they're afraid of me, because they've been hurt so deeply that how can they trust? So let's take some time. Let's not assume. Let's look at every human out there and just realize that there's a backstory. Let's get contagious in our conversations, and let's get contagious in our ability to reach out to each other right now with this COVID virus. And let's win on the virus. Let's win. Maybe we can't win physically other than isolating ourselves, but maybe we can win emotionally by reaching out and connecting. So that's my heart today for Contagious Living. And thank you, Jesse, for seeing my heart today, and realizing that there was more to the story I was feeling.
Well, the term that comes to mind for me is orphaned adults.
Yeah.
So where does that sit with you?
You're good. So most of you know that I have a child, Delaney, that I adopted, and she was orphaned. And so I got her when she was just before a year old. So yeah, a bit of an aha moment Jesse's bringing me back to, because I was probably trying to run away from that thought. Yeah, an orphaned adult today is what I said I believe is Orphans to me were children who, were under 18 and under the law, and children that didn't have moms and dads and were abandoned and neglected. And to think of women that thought that they came into this country for a partnership, for, even if it wasn't for love and romance, for a partnership, for the idea that they were taken care of. You don't leave, and I can say this as a woman, we don't leave comfortable situations. We don't leave a space where we're well cared for and loved and respected. That's not how we're built. We're very loyal creatures. We love, emphatically. So when women are leaving their countries and leaving their families and leaving their biological, cultural, religious setups, that's because they're hurting, and it's survival. It's to get away to survive. And so these women, whether they're in relationships for partnerships or maybe they did fall in love, let's hope, and they come to another country, to Canada, to the United States, to North America. That's all I can speak about because that's my experience. But they come here, to think of them orphaned, Jesse, that's exactly it. They are orphaned. They have no one to talk to. I feel like, for a woman myself that's been in relationships that are not necessarily the best sometimes, one specifically, I remember going to people and they're like, well, that's your bed. You made it. You lay in it, girl. And so to think that you left your country, you left your culture. Lots of countries and cultures, race, creed, and culture are the same. Not so much Canada, so we're lucky for that. We've got to find understanding for these people, that we cannot relate to these women because we're not walking in their shoes. And that's all I ask, that you find some space and some grace for these humans that are displaced, because they're doing the best that they can. You're doing the best that you can. I'm doing the best that I can. Jesse's doing the best that he can to capture this true moment right now to share. And I just challenge you to listen to these women out there, and really see that they are orphaned in every meaning, to be neglected and to be misplaced and to be, lost. These women are lost, and I have a heart for all humans that are lost. But today, I want to speak to, specifically, these two beautiful Asian women that I know, and I'm only pointing out the race because, if you know me at all, I'm not about hiding race, culture, creed, color, religion. I'm about bringing those differences up because they exist and they're real. And I believe that because we want to hide them and we want to bury them under the rug, it gives them more power. And I really want to recognize our differences. And so there are differences. And coming here from another country, you bet there's differences and challenges. And so I just pray for those women right now. And I just ask that we all hold them up, and just don't make assumptions, you guys. They're out there and they're amongst us. And I found two women in that space, in my space. And so I know that space is much bigger than my little world. So let's all do our part, and let's keep our eyes open, our ears open, and mostly your hearts open to conversations. And if the conversations are, more driven by you, that's okay. Keep plugging in and keep trying, and earn that trust, because they deserve to be seen, to be heard. And if you want to reach out, you got to find that opening. So I want to dedicate this to Annie tonight, and Elle. Thank you.